failing because of all the hype, which is what Prime was built off. But when it was first released, these boys rode the hype train, and then once they did that, they turned to energy drink. The hype around that wasn't as much, and then the boys tried to do Prime sticks, but that really failed. In fact, they don't even sell that anymore, and now their sales have dropped 50%. The party's over, and now they're in trouble.
Logan Paul's empire is collapsing, and it's uglier than anyone expected.
This morning, New York Senator Chuck Schumer is calling on the
demanded
FDA
the FDA
to
open an investigation into Prime Energy. Not because it's trending, not because it's cool, but because people are finally realizing how dangerous and deceptive it really is. The drink that once ruled playgrounds and YouTube ads has now become the center of a political and public health scandal. And it's not just about the drink, it's about the lie that built the entire brand. But that's just the beginning.
Levels that were deemed a public threat to children, and also in most recent times an actual class action lawsuit that has just been launched against them for accusations of having forever chemicals in the grape flavor of the Prime hydration drink. And this lawsuit is extremely serious and could definitely threaten not only the public perception of the brand, which is damaging enough.
Here's where the truth hits hard. Prime was never just a beverage. It was a walking billboard for influencer power. A clout-chasing dream sold to millions of kids. This summer, it wasn't toys or sneakers they begged their parents for. It was Prime. Bottles were being resold for hundreds. Limited edition drops caused fights in stores. Logan and KSI danced on stages, bragging like they had built the next Coca-Cola. But behind all the flashing lights and staged celebrations, something wasn't right. One sip and people started raising eyebrows. Some said it tasted like swallowing perfume. Others compared it to cheap cologne or cleaning supplies. One person joked they'd rather use it to cook pork ribs than drink it. And yet, there was no real nutritional label, no transparency, no clarity about what was actually inside.
But also, Prime's biggest problem was the limited supply they had, and that initially drove the insane demand, but now they've fixed the supply issues, the demand is not as much. And I think the only way to save the business is sell Prime online. Make it available to order on their website, maybe even an app, even on Amazon, maybe even make a subscription option. You can automatically have a new batch sent out and start promoting it. And if you want to see more content from me, hit that follow button.
And then came the bombshell. It goes completely off the rails now. New reports show Prime's financials are tanking fast. In the UK alone, their revenue dropped from £112 million to just £33 million in a single year. That's a 70% collapse. But even worse, their net profit plunged from £3.7 million to £312,000, barely $429,000 in US dollars. For a global brand, that's catastrophic. In the US, the situation isn't much better. Sales crashed another 40%. When you look at their total numbers worldwide, Prime's revenue has nosedived by a staggering 92%. That's not a dip, it's a death sentence. And yet, Logan and KSI stayed silent. Until now. This next part? Straight up wild. Because once you pull the curtain back, it becomes crystal clear. Prime was never about quality, health, or value. It was a cash grab from day one. The drink itself? Mediocre at best. The marketing? Inflated. The message? Fake.
This morning, New York Senator Chuck Schumer is calling on the FDA to investigate the energy drink Prime.
One of the summer's hottest status symbols for kids is not an outfit, it's not a toy, it's a beverage.
Ooh, smells a bit high. What's like swallowing perfume? What is that?
This brand wasn't built on trust. It was built on Logan Paul's face and a lie. They sold kids the illusion of greatness, wrapped in shiny colors and influencer hype. But the numbers don't lie. And now the world is finally waking up. And it gets even messier. This is where it all falls apart. The illusion didn't break. It shattered. When Prime first launched, it exploded. Not because of the taste, not because of the ingredients, but because Logan Paul and KSI used their massive platforms to sell it as the ultimate cool kid badge. Their followers weren't just buying a drink, they were buying an identity. That's how fast it moved. In their own words, they cleared $110 million in retail sales. But what happens when the hype fades? What happens when the masks come off? Brace yourself for this one. Now here's where it gets insane. Clout fades, and when it does, you need more than just a pretty bottle. Prime had nothing else. One blunt post from Design Rush said it best: clout isn't a business model. And the data proves it. Repeat customers dropped. Spending per purchase tanked. New customer growth barely moving. Why? Because once people actually tried Prime, they realized it wasn't good. One taste reviewer said it straight: this tastes like medicine. Another tried every flavor at Target and said even the newest one had a nasty aftertaste. And then, total chaos.
Parents, listen, this is scarier. Your kid's drinking this 3 times the level of forever chemicals, PFAs, found in this.
All right, let's talk about it. After I corrected the TikTok lawyer with facts debunking this crap, I never thought I'd have to do the same to a carrot-colored Instagram doctor. You'd think after this guy already got sentenced to 16 years of probation for stealing $1.4 million from his adopted children's trust fund, true story, he'd stop lying for his financial benefit. And I guess it doesn't surprise me that he calls himself a doctor when he's really just a chiropractor whose license has been suspended and is currently considered expired and on probation. So look, obviously we sent this guy cease and desist. I got him to like half apologize, but in the same video, he just doubled down on his bullshit.
Logan Paul from Prime Hydration and Energy Drinks sent me this cease and desist. He was not happy about this video. However, Logan, I do apologize.
He's even getting called out and corrected in his own comment section for spreading misinformation, but now I gotta come on here and expose the guy because he can't tell the difference between a can of Prime Energy and a bottle of Prime Hydration.
But Logan, don't shoot the messenger. I was just bringing the message.
Hey, don't worry, bro. I'm not gonna shoot you. But Prime is considering suing you for the millions of dollars of damage you caused and make you file for bankruptcy a second time. Buddy, you don't know a single thing about what you're claiming, but if I ever want to overdose on self-tanner or get my back cracked, I'm coming straight to you. So look, send the video, share the video. Mom, send it out because we don't want our kids being influenced by an Instagram chiropractor who stole $1.4 million from his own children.
It turns darker from here. The second the hype train slowed down, Prime's weakness became obvious. It had no solid marketing strategy, no foundation, no vision beyond creator clout. Think about it. When's the last time you saw a Prime billboard, a TV ad, anything outside of Logan and KSI's channels? Exactly. This brand never stood on its own. And once Logan and KSI stopped pushing it non-stop, sales plummeted, stores noticed, orders dropped, shelves stayed full, and then came the lawsuits. But things were about to explode. Just wait until you hear this part. Senator Chuck Schumer didn't just call for an FDA investigation, he dropped a bombshell. He revealed that Prime contains the caffeine equivalent of 6 cans of Coca-Cola, and he accused the company of directly marketing it to kids. That's not hype, that's reckless. And now, concerned parents and lawmakers are turning their attention to the growing health risks. The drink that once symbolized summer fun is now under fire for causing mood swings, upset stomachs, and irregular heart rhythms in children, and it gets even messier. But that's not all. Prime isn't just losing customers, it's being dragged into court. The lawsuits are stacking up fast. From false advertising to dangerous ingredients, legal teams are circling like sharks. If even a few of these cases succeed, it could cost Logan and KSI tens of millions. They tried to play businessman, but the game's now out of their control. The real chaos starts here. It didn't end there. Prime isn't just tanking in sales, it's being dragged through the courtroom by almost every company it touched. Let's break it down one by one, because these lawsuits aren't small claims. They're multi-million-dollar grenades that could blow the whole operation up. And first up, Refresco.
So it looks as if Logan Paul's Prime Energy Drinks, which is popular among kids, is facing calls by Chuck Schumer to be investigated by the FDA due to high caffeine levels. Most recently, a school in Wales issued a warning to parents after a child went into cardiac arrest after drinking one of these Prime Energy drinks and having to have his stomach pumped, which has now raised concern with some US lawmakers. A single can of Prime contains 200 milligrams of caffeine. To put it in perspective for you, this is equivalent to 2 cans of Red Bull or 6 cans of Coke. Here's a chart that shows other energy drinks that are not marketed to kids actually measure up. So according to the FDA, an adult should not be consuming more than 400 milligrams a day of caffeine, and a child should not be consuming more than 100 milligrams, if any. So now knowing this, do you think the FDA should be investigating this or not?
The company that helped manufacture Prime is now suing Logan Paul's brand for a jaw-dropping $67 million. Why? Because Prime allegedly promised to order a minimum volume for 3 years, and then completely ghosted them once sales started to collapse. Refresco says they were left hanging with equipment, staff, and production lines that cost millions. If that lawsuit goes through, Prime could be financially wiped out. But this next twist? Game-changing. Now here's where it gets insane. Another lawsuit is coming after Prime for something that might sound small, until you realize how serious it is. The complaint claims that Prime Energy contains 215 to 225 milligrams of caffeine per can, even though the label says 200. That's not a harmless mistake. That's a major health risk, especially for kids. And once one person started digging, others joined in. Suddenly, people were exposing everything: misprinted ingredients, label errors, caloric confusion, lack of transparency, no clear benefits listed, no honest marketing. One person pointed out, there's not even a proper nutrition label. How are parents supposed to trust this? And it spirals from here.
The reason why PFAS chemicals are harmful to your body is one, because they can cause kidney damage, kidney cancer, can also increase the level of cholesterol and impact your liver. They are forever chemicals, so they get inside your body, they stay in there forever. Your body cannot break them down, your liver can't break them down, your kidneys can't flush them out.
This is another high-speed vision inspection system. So if the label is not on perfect, the machine will recognize it and kick it off. I'm actually gonna try this right now. I gotta be quick, ready? All right, watch. I barely touched it. This thing is sharp. And that, my friends, is how Prime Hydration is created. When hydration science meets high-speed machines in a state-of-the-art American bottling plant. Stay hydrated, drink Prime. Peace.
But things were about to explode. Logan Paul didn't apologize. He didn't clarify. He pivoted. He started posting YouTube videos where he talks like a certified nutritionist, bragging about Prime's quality control, their world-class team, and claiming every single batch is FDA-regulated and third-party certified. But here's the kicker. If everything was so perfect, why are people still suing? Why is the profit still missing? And if Prime is doing so well, why does Logan keep acting like he's running damage control? This part left everyone stunned. And then came the bombshell, again. A second lawsuit hit, this time for $13 million. The company behind it? Ivana, one of Prime's key ingredient suppliers. They claim Prime refused to pay for product orders and accused the brand of having cash flow problems. Prime fired back with a countersuit, claiming the ingredients weren't up to standard. But either way, it's another massive red flag. Prime's getting sued by both suppliers and manufacturers, and that's before we even get into the toxic chemicals. It gets worse. Just wait until you hear this part. Another case is targeting Prime's grape flavor for allegedly containing PFAS, a highly toxic chemical the EPA strictly limits in drinking water. These are known as forever chemicals because they don't break down in the body. The plaintiffs say Prime's product violated safety standards and endangered public health. Prime's lawyers are scrambling to get the case dismissed, but it's still ongoing. The drama only gets deeper, and it gets even messier. Several new lawsuits focus on Prime's caffeine levels, claiming the drink misled parents and children into thinking it was safe. Each can of Prime Energy has 200 milligrams of caffeine, but some tests suggest the real number is even higher. That's more than enough to cause heart palpitations, sleep disruption, and mood swings, especially in teenagers. And the packaging? Totally confusing. Prime Hydration contains 0 caffeine, but looks almost identical to Prime Energy. That kind of mix-up could land a kid in the hospital. And for Logan Paul, it could land him in even more legal trouble. Here's where the mask falls off. But that's not all. Somehow, Prime even managed to fumble the Olympics. Yes, the Olympics. They released a Team USA edition of Prime featuring NBA star Kevin Durant. But here's the catch. They never got permission to use the Olympic branding. The US Olympic Committee immediately sent a cease and desist. Prime ignored it. So they sued. The case was settled quietly, but here's what really exposed them. Logan never bragged about the outcome. And if they had won, you know he would have posted about it. So what does that tell you? They lost. Again. This is where it all falls apart.